Hi, this is Mrs. Tellas. We're going to do section 2.4 this afternoon or this morning, whenever you're watching it. So let's go ahead and give this a try. So we're going to solve multi-step inequalities. We'll do variables on both sides, and we're also going to do a couple two-step. We solve them just like we solve equations, just like it. All right, so our first one right here. So y over -6 plus 7 is less than 9. So it's a two-step, so I'm going to make a t, and I'm going to put a box right here around this fraction. So which means I need to go after the plus 7. So I'm going to subtract 7 on both sides. So the 7's cross out, and the fraction or the box drops down. And that's 2 if you use your calculator. And because this says divide, I'm going to multiply both sides by -6. And I'm going to flip it because I multiplied both sides by a negative. So this is a flip, specifically because I multiplied by -6. So when I do that, y drops, less than becomes greater than, and this is -12. So I solve it just like an equation. I just have to pay attention to the flip. So reminder on the graph, if I put -12 in the center, it's an open circle and it's greater than, so I'm shading to the right. All right, let's do this one. Notice that variables are on both sides here. We've got a v in the front and a v in the back. So we're going to make a t. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add 4v. That'll put v in the front, which is where I want it. So 2v and 4v is 6v. The -4 drops down. Greater than equal to drops, and the 8 also drops down. Those cancel, which means this -4 needs to go over here. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So that's 6v is greater than 12. The 4's cancel. And then I can divide by 6. And this is a no flip. It's a no flip because I divided by a positive number. So my answer is v is greater than or equal to 2. And why is it a no flip? Because I divided by 6, which is a positive number. So I'm going to put 2 in the center. It's a closed circle, and I'm shading to the right. So all the numbers, including 2, that are bigger than 2 are part of the solution. All right, so number 3. So another variables on both sides. Why don't you give this one a try? Hit pause and try this one, solve for b. So again, I'm going to move the 7 over here. Now, usually I would move the 4, but I really want the b in the front because the b has to be in the front when you solve inequalities. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 7b on both sides. So this would be -3b, -6 would drop, and -24 would drop. So then I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and that's -18, I think. Okay, and all I keep doing is dropping less than. Now I'm going to divide by -3. And since I'm dividing by -3, a negative on both sides in its division, I have to flip the inequality. So I'm going to change that to greater than. So b drops, and negative divided negative is positive, so that's 6. So this was a no flip. Actually, it was a flip, not a no flip. It was a flip because I had to divide by a -3. So it was a flip. Divide by -3. And if I justify my steps, my first step was to subtract 7b on both sides. My second step was to add 6 on both sides. And my third step was to divide by -3. That would be my justification to get b by itself or isolated. So hopefully you got that right. Okay, here's number 4. Okay, let's do number 4. So on this one, notice that the c's are both over here and the constants are both over here. So we're going to combine like terms on both sides. So I'm not going to make my t yet because we've got like terms on both sides. So that would be -1c greater than equal to drops. That would be -25. Now I've got to divide by -1. This is a flip problem because I'm dividing by a negative number. So my final answer, c drops because those cancel. I flipped it and made it less than or equal to, and that's 25. So that's my answer. I flipped it because I divided by a -1. If I justify, I combined like terms on both sides, and then I divide by -1. All right, let's try this one. This one's got distributive property on both sides, and it's got variables on both sides. So we're going to distribute the 3 on the left and the 2 on the right, and let's see what happens. So 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. And then over here, I've got 6x, positive 2. Well, I noticed that they're both 6x. Did you notice that? So I'm subtracting 6x on both sides, and they both cancel, which now I know it's either no solution or infinitely many. I just have to see if it's true. So negative 21 is dropping down, less than is dropping down, and 2 is dropping down. So is negative 21 less than 2? Well, yes, all negatives are smaller than a positive 2. Also, if you remember what your elementary teacher said, she said that it eats the bigger number. Well, it's definitely eating the bigger because positives are bigger than negatives. So this is a true statement. So since it's a true statement, the answer is infinitely many solutions, or abbreviated as IMS. All right, let's try this one. Okay, so I am going to, I'm not ready for that t, am I? Because I've got like terms over here. See, I have an x and an x. I can combine those. So that's 10x, and the other side can't be combined. So now I can make my t because I'm ready to move that 4x. I'm going to subtract 4x, which is 6x, and then I'm going to divide 6. And this is a fraction, and there's no flip. 15 divided by 6, let's see what that is. That's 2.5. This is my answer. There's no flip because I divided by a positive 6. We did that one up there. I think we've done everything. We didn't do this one. Let's go ahead and do this one real quick. So on this one, I've got 2 terms up here, both different, and the parenthesis back here. So let's distribute this 4. So this would be 8b plus 12, and this just drops straight down. That drops, and the sign drops. So now again, I notice that 8b is the same. So I'm subtracting 8b on both sides, and the constants drop down now. So this is negative 3 is greater than 12. Well, it's not eating the big one. The big one's 12 because all positives are bigger than negatives. So this is false, which means the answer is no solution. So that's just a different situation when both of the variables cancel. We did that one. We did this one. And we're all finished. So I'm hoping you're feeling good about variables on both sides. Remember, you got to watch for the flip. Okay, so a reason number 1 we flip is because the letter is on the wrong side. Okay, so x is on or in the back side or the back of the inequality. We have to flip then. Okay, so like 4 is less than x. Has to be flipped. So x is greater than 4 would be our answer. And the other reason we flip is because we either multiply or we divide by a negative. Okay, a negative number. So if that's the case, we also have to flip the inequality. So there's 2 reasons why we flip when we do inequalities. The solving is exactly the same as it is on equations.